recording.
Move some of the stuff.
I like that it's on this side. I like that. I'm a mess. How do you feel? You feel comfortable?
Yeah, I feel good.
All right, it's recording. So let's see. I got. Well, hello. Well, so let's see. Let me kind of get this a little bit more. Just a little, my setup a little bit better. And
Sure.
okay. All right. So I'm gonna do a little intro. Not even an intro. Just gonna just say hello. Get started. I actually. All right. So, hello. It's CJ, and I have a guest today. Would you like to introduce yourself, guest?
Hi, I'm Mona. Good.
And Mona, and Mona is my hairstylist.
Yes.
And it's like she's been in my hairstyle since 2012, maybe a little bit before that, but I know for sure 2012.
Yeah.
So it's funny is because she came over right now to cut my hair, but she is in the kitchen and I'm in the living room. My audio recorder, it's like I said, whenever you want to record, stuff doesn't work when you need it. So the Zoom is not loading up the SD card. So I'm shooting from my new phone and she's from on my computer. So we're kind of next to each other. We're kind of not. There's a little social distancing going on. But we shall begin. So today we are going to discuss a movie that I just admitted to Mona that I hadn't finished till I got older, and it's called The Goonies. The Goonies is a 1985 movie made by Steven Spielberg. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know that, but we're going to we're going to talk about it, see what we like about it, what we gathered from it, and this is I want to think this is more of a your movie that you really you suggested it, so you like The Goonies?
Yes, but I didn't really watch it again until I was, an adult. So I saw it several times as a kid, like probably the first time maybe being like 10, 11. And then I didn't watch it again until like I was like 28 or 29. And then, but it was like a cut version. I didn't show all the scenes because I went to one of those like Master Pancake Theaters. Have you ever been to that?
Yes. I haven't been to one.
And so they made fun of that movie and they cut a lot of the scenes out. So I didn't even, see the whole movie then. And then I just watched it, a couple days ago, like in its entirety since I was a kid. And I was like, wow, there's a lot of adult humor
Oh,
that
yeah.
I pick up on, but it's great. Like, I still love it. Like, since you didn't see it in its entirety till recently, like, do you feel like you still love it or liked it?
Well, like I was, so thing with me is I never got past a certain part. I even have it right here in the notes. It's an hour and 7 minutes into the movie, a character makes an introduction, and that kind of ruined it for me as a kid. The sloth character.
Oh, were you scared?
Yeah, I got really. It's just my imagination, and I was a little kid, and watching that just really kind of messed me up. And I remember seeing the movie not like in its entirety, just broken up. And then right now watching it and then watching it through again, because I like to watch a movie and then I like to just watch it, kind of let it play so I remember some parts or watch clips of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the soft character, as soon as he came out, I was like, yeah, I remember why I didn't finish watching this movie. and I was just I was like, God, still as an adult, like it didn't really affect me. I was like, oh, turn it off. I was more like, here's why I don't know how to talk about The Goonies.
Mm-hmm.
Because in all honesty, this is a great movie. The first thing I got from it was the first thing you see is it's like the first titles are Steven Spielberg Presents. And that already was like, all right, that's a big deal, especially in the, because 79, I believe, was Jaws. And then, he started doing Close Encounters. And then he did, these movies just keep racking him up in the 80s. He's going Spielberg. We get to really see him. But this, watching this movie as an adult, and especially where I'm at now as a filmmaker, I look for things that I never really that aren't related to the story, I guess, that are, but more for the cinema. What I'm trying to say is the things I love about this movie was already the opening scenes. Also the part where the kids like the Josh Brolin brother character, they tie him up and then they get on their
Mhm.
bikes and they head out to the forest. Like, oh, it's so beautiful, the shots. Like I kind of got caught up in
Mhm.
those moments when I started realizing like this is, I mean, the cars are a little dated, but like that, by watching this movie, watching the story, and then seeing like this is a family movie. It's and I think the fact that it's an 80 from 85 and
Mhm.
that it's a family movie, and I think people were showing that there are problems in families, but there's also like we don't have to be like you're gonna have your problems, but they're not the end of your family. It's just like you see a lot of the brother camaraderie, and one thing I got right away from the beginning was that opening scene where the Robert Davi character, I forgot the older brother of
I think
the
his
band,
name. Oh, Jake.
Jake, I
The
believe.
Yeah. Oh, the bad guys. Is that what
The
you're
bad
talking
guys,
about?
yeah, the bad
Yeah.
guys,
Well,
yeah.
there's one like there's Jake and then Francis.
France, yeah. So you got the Robert Davi and then the Joe Pantoliano,
Yeah.
and he plays the other character and the brothers, and it's like right away reminded me of like there's the two brothers, one's escaping from jail, and the mom is like the ringleader, and I was like, oh, what I wish my family was like my mom, my brother. I was like, oh man, and then you get into the scene where you see the Shane Astin character and the Josh Brolin brother relationship, and the mom, and then you see like there's another version of that, and I never caught that as when I saw it the first time or when I was younger.
Mhm.
I caught it right away when I saw this. I was like, oh look, they're showing you two sets of brothers and a mom, and
Like what can go right and what can go wrong, kind of.
probably, yeah, probably
Yeah.
you get the two ends of the spectrum, older
Mhm.
brothers and younger kids, and then how they might end up, but it's all about the influence of the adult, I guess. Or I mean,
Mhm.
it seems like the mother is more influenced. The Anne, what's her name? Anne Ramsey, the mom,
Mhm.
the don't throw mom from the bus. You know, she's that's still kind of that character. But you even see it when she's like trying to talk to the sloth, and he's trying to like show the motherly love. So you
Mhm.
even see that. I'm like, well, I see her with her kids, and they're still doing stuff, even though they're breaking the law. But I see them as a family where the other one, the mom kind of just leaves the kids and alone, and they go on this adventure. Now, exactly, you wouldn't have an adventure if the mom wasn't around, maybe, you know. But I like that I caught onto that right away. And then you see the part right in the scene where they're talking about losing the home, and Josh Brolin gives his brother Shane Astin a hug, and it's just like
Mhm.
he gives him a hug because he needs it, but then at the same time kind of pushes him a little bit, like, hey, come on, toughen up. Like I like that they captured that.
Mhm.
I mean, the thing about this movie, just from like the beginning, all the characters, like you get an example of. I mean, the way I like it starts off with the oh, I always forget spoilers. Anybody listening, there's spoilers on this. So I don't know. I just throw that out there because I don't know if I'm gonna ruin anything. But the opening scene, you see the way the family works together to break out of jail, and then on that chase scene, it kind of introduces you all the characters,
Yeah.
all the and it does it without having to do the we're cool and look at me, I'm edgy, and you have to pick it up on your own. That data does a bunch of gadgets and they don't really work.
Mhm.
And then you see his dad at the end, and he's, oh well, that's where he got it from. And then the Corey Feldman, the mouth character, that
Mhm.
he was you really tend to appreciate Corey Feldman as just an artist or an actor from the beginning till and at this time he also did I think this is right before he did Friday the 13th, they got into that franchise, or maybe right around the same time. And it's like, man, he's playing like Tommy Jarvis is a kid in there, and then he's playing the mouth in this one. So it's like he's got a little bit of range as an actor, but you see him in this movie as just that oh, that's what I wrote in my notes. The friendship, the bonds that they show in this is pretty cool. You kind of want to have your kind of cool friend next door, and
Yeah.
it just comes over with a catapult or a rope and just jumps over, and then the mom already knows, go through the door next time. Like, it's just like, it's kind of like one of your
Like
kids is
he
not.
played that really like down. I'm like, my mom would probably have hit him. So I'm like,
Yeah,
this is not, yeah. But I like how they are not. I mean, they can kind of consider themselves not losers, but like kind of quirky outcasts,
yeah,
and but they like are great friends and they love each other. So it's like they don't try to be like cool.
yeah. I get what you're saying, because they're kids, and they're just being kids.
Yeah.
And you have the Borland character, the Brand, and or Brandon. He's kind of trying to, like, it's kind of weird. I feel like he's kind of forced into it because he's the older brother and he's watching him, but he's not putting a lot on them. Where the character that I love is not love but love to laugh as the Troy character.
Oh, uh-huh.
Like that's what, like, he was cool. Like he's trying to be
He's
cool.
yes, yeah.
And you're right.
Showing
That's a
the
good.
different dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he's like, this is what cool is. I got a Trans Am, and I don't listen. And it's kind of funny how you get. Oh, I think I need you to clarify something for me real quick. The dead body, the Chunk finds in the freezer.
Mhm.
Is that one of the guys from the scene before where they're taking the, like, the, I think it's Troy's dad is one of them, where they're taking the papers to the kids. And who are the dead bodies? I don't know who the.
I mean, they don't really go into that because I didn't know if, I mean, there was one point where like Mama Fratelli says like he works for the feds. So I don't know if
Okay.
he was like onto them and they caught him and killed him and shoved him in the freezer. Like they don't really explain that.
Okay, yeah, because I just wanted to make sure, because it's kind of one guy. There's two bodies, and you hear two gunshots, and one
Yeah.
guy kind of looks like Troy's dad when he goes and drop off the letter, or they want to talk about the land, or the parents. Is your mommy home? And he goes, no, she's at the. And that's what I like when Josh Brolin says, when he goes, is your mommy home? Is your daddy home? How about your mommy? And he goes, oh yeah, she's at the grocery store getting us diapers for all your babies. Like that's like the first. I feel like the edgy of the '80s. It's just kind of
Yeah.
like, yeah, like it's like, yeah, it's kind of smart ass in a way, or kind of just being a, I mean, that is kind of funny. Where's your mommy at? You tell it to like an 18-year-old. Like,
Yes. Yeah.
that I don't know. I don't know. Just calling. Hey, guy. Sorry, having a little interruption real quick. I have my. No. You need to go inside. There's gonna be a little pause. Mona, you gonna take the reins real quick and just tell us what you like about it? I'm gonna get
Oh
this kid.
God.
He's gonna start
Okay.
crying.
I guess. I mean, so I guess what I came away from the movie, I wrote some notes down. I like the aspect of like as a kid, you think you're kind of watching more of an adult movie because there's like murder and like the kids are like cursing all the time, which I mean, when I was 12, like I couldn't even say shut up to my sister. So I thought, I was like, oh my gosh, this is kind of like a cool, edgy kids movie, but like more geared for adults. But then when you're watching it as an adult, you're like, okay, no, it's still a kids movie for kids, but it does have those adult themes that they'll eventually, when you grow up, you'll notice because they have like the friendship aspect and the aspect of good versus evil. And when you're a kid, it's more black versus white. There's not that gray area, but when you get older, I feel like there is a gray area that we see. And just, I guess, the courage and bravery of youth because they don't have any, you know, they don't think about the aspect in the future of consequences. They're just thinking of this adventure. And when you're 12, you want to go on this pirate, adventure. So I'm just talking about like what I took away from it. Because when you're a kid, it's like you wanna go on a treasure hunt with your friends.
I was going to ask you about that. Do you think this is more of because okay, so I kind of, for only, really, I got a lot of notes, but I want to say for like I said, because I wasn't big into this movie because of the sloth character, and I didn't realize that till now. But I was saying, is this more of a, okay, here we go. The thing I like about it is this is the story of a movie that unveils a story of the One-Eyed Willie character, like his story that kind of it starts unveiling as you start going with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it more of the story about like the whole like family and kids and staying together, or is it about the journey? Is it more about like, because I feel like I like that it's kind of two stories where there is a journey, but I feel the way they don't say it, that you just see more the acting that they're like, they care for each other. And there's
Mm-hmm.
more like a friendship camaraderie, and there's more like just a bond. And I think this movie, it just makes it real simple for you. It just shows you like the characters, how they care about each other. Even like I don't know what the girl's name, the Brand's girlfriend, or she holds
Oh, the girl that are they like each other? Carrie, I think that's her
Carrie, yeah, I
name.
think it's her name. Yeah, she holds. There's that part where
Oh,
she
that's her
gets
real name. Her name's Andy in the
Andy in the movie.
yeah.
Yeah, so Andy is she like she has even like Shane Astin. He goes, "You want me to hold your hand?" And he said, Mikey, he says, "Yeah." And it's like kind of like that friendship. Like he's not really like trying. Like even in this movie, they're not even trying to score. Like a kiss is like a big deal.
Hmm.
And even like they're just like I like that. I like that I was able to gather like okay, there's a lot of like just caring in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's like the biggest thing I took away because like yes, there is that plot of uh, they heard about, especially the brothers, looks like they heard about this one-eyed Willie character um, through their dad, like their whole lives, because he ran that museum, and but and but it's more about friendship, I would think, like what you were saying, like
Okay, so friendship part.
yeah, because like it's like one-eyed Willie's kind of in the background. But I like towards the end, like when they find another spoiler, when they find the treasure, it's and you meet One-Eyed Willie, and Mikey's character calls him he's the first Goonie, so it kind
Yeah.
of full circles that. But but I would say overall, it's yeah, like the friendship aspect.
Can you explain that to me though? I actually don't even know what Goonies is because he said there's that part where Troy, they're at the top of the wishing well and he goes, "You're a Goonie," and then right before that they call
Oh
out. Is
yeah,
that
so I had to look that up too because I was like, because 7 minutes in mouth, he calls themselves Goonies, and they but just never explained it that whole movie. And then I had to look it up because I was just like, I need to know why they call themselves Goonies, which I guess in that area in like where they lived as kids, they're called the Goondocks, and so that's why they're
uh,
called the Goonies.
so it looks like it was made like I didn't check. I should have done more research on it, but it looks like it was made like in like Oregon or
Yes,
somewhere like
yeah, in
okay.
Oregon.
So those houses are amazing. Everything I even like just the intro and it even all the characters that you see on screen somehow you get a little bit of backstory of them in the beginning because they're all connected. Even the Rosalita character,
Hmm.
like I love that Corey Feldman in the mouth. I just crack up where he's giving her the like he's translating for her in Spanish. This character only speaks Spanish, and only one other character is like the 10-year-old Corey Feldman character, Mouth, and he can read Spanish, and he translates everything. Like the mother's there telling Corey Feldman to be like, "Hey, say this to the Rosalita," and he's changing it up a bit. Like he's making
Hmm.
it all, the first thing he says, the marijuana's on the top drawer, the cocaine on the middle drawer, the opiates at the bottom. Like he's like he like it's like okay, I think it's PG-13. It's kind of cool, and he's kind of I like that part. I thought that was like clever. That was cute. You don't. I feel like movies nowadays, like if you do like a teen, they have to have like the even amount of screen time. They have to have the even amount of backstory. They need
Hmm.
to have like, oh, we're from this part of the city, so we've only seen this part of things, and we're poor, and it's like, oh, like nah, you don't get that from here. You just get like kids going on an adventure that are close to each other, that are friends, and there's a bond. And I think that's the simplicity of this film. It's not getting too deep into the characters. It's just
Hmm.
showing you how they are, and I really like that. I got a lot of notes on that. Um, what else I was gonna say about the area? There was what was I gonna say? What was I gonna say? Yeah, it shows you all the youth's personality, like all of them, without even like trying to put it in your face. You just get what the characters are doing. You understand them. Even the Shane Astin, the Mikey character with the inhaler, like that's
Hmm.
kind of his thing in their movie too. And I'm starting to notice that as an actor. Like I like little quirks that you can make your character really stick out a little bit and really come out. And that's just one of them. I can't remember if Data with the booby traps, if that was just from Goonies, but if they brought that over from Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I can't remember if he was in that movie before the Goonies, or if I can't remember what movie came first for him.
I think it was Indiana Jones. They're the older ones
Okay.
because and those are Spielberg's, I believe, and or George Lucas. I can't. I know those are Spielberg's, but what was I gonna say is I think yeah he plays the fortune cookie. Oh man, I'm gonna get my butt kicked. I haven't seen Indiana Jones.
I haven't
I
seen
haven't,
it in
I,
so long. I
I
can
haven't
barely
seen it
remember.
since I was a kid. I haven't seen Indiana Jones since like I was in middle school. Darn. I mean, I haven't seen the
That's
whole
your next
movies.
movie. That's
Yeah,
your
I
next
should. Oh, I
assignment.
got this happens a lot. They're like, "Hey, you have to watch these." I'm like, "Well, and it's actually it's cool that I like going through this because I haven't really got any suggestions for anything new."
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, well, until I get something suggested new, I'm gonna keep going with the older stuff until I get run out. Oh, I like the fact that the Chunk character, um, every like he needs Chunk to break. He wants to break the glass, but he can't break it, so he gives it to Chunk, and then he
Yes.
counts to three and he breaks it. He makes fun of his mom. He breaks the door. He finds the like he's. I didn't even realize his scenes are very important. He is the like the catalyst that keeps the story going
Oh
without
yeah.
him trying.
He's my favorite character.
So you have a favorite. So Chunk's your favorite.
Yeah, he's my favorite. And always like growing up watching it, I always wanted him. I was like, man, I wish he was on that adventure with him or with them. Like he didn't get
Uh,
separated, but it's like no, he needed to get separated. Like he needed his own story, or I mean, because it needed all to, they had to show up later on. He
yeah.
needed his part in this. Also, I think if he did join him on the adventure, he probably wouldn't have made
No, that too.
it.
You know what? That's all. I'm just gonna segue this in with Toy Story 3. There's a scene where they all jump onto a moving dumpster because Woody's inside of it. He gets dragged into it, and in my head I was like, Ken and Barbie can't go because they don't have thumbs. How would this like? That was like, and then sure enough, Barbie's about to jump, and Ken says, "No, you're not gonna make it." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's how I did." And then I realized the pig and the Tyrannosaurus make it, and I was like, wait a minute, those two. And then so it's like, but then they do things for them. They it's like when there's a magnetic thing pulling things up. They're not magnetic, but they fall into a pot and it pulls them up. So they
Mhm.
has to make the story work for them. And I feel like the Chunk character, I think he's really just helping start the story or that little the not the journey. The journey already got started, but he pushes it the next level by dropping the water. It goes into the under the fire.
Oh
They find
yeah.
that,
Hmm.
and that's what I mean. Like that's the thing. It's important for him, but I feel like you can only do that so much with that character before it becomes a novelty, and then you're
Yeah.
expecting him to like, all right, Chunk, what are you gonna do that's gonna get us the right answer? Like
Hmm.
I think the fact by pulling him out is a good thing, and also they have their own gadgets too because they have the when they knock on the door the right before the shuffle.
Hmm.
They have you see the kids like do their little like doorbell thing, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. So there's a lot of things stay connected together. There's like a lot of reasons why these kids understand things, and
Hmm.
I gotta say the production value by far is great. It's amazing. I there's a scene where they have a green screen, and it's right before they go to the restaurant. They show you they kind of you can tell it's a green screen. And I guess the only reason they did that is because they wanted to have the three I guess islands or buildings next to each
Uh-huh.
other. I think that's the only reason they did that. And then for the most part, everything is practical. Everything is in the movie.
Hmm.
I didn't really catch any other green screen scenes, but I'll say that that's awesome that they did that. I love when you make a reality of a movie and it comes to life in the movie because it's not like placed there. It's supposed to be there. Like it's not placed there in post. It's supposed to be there in the shot. Like I like
Hmm.
that stuff. And the more I learn about editing, the more I learn about that stuff. I like really appreciate that when somebody goes and you know they build a layer for, or even like I'm thinking about like the scenes with Sloth and he's just watching TV. You don't really have to have a bunch of stuff. It's in the dark. Like I like that they give that feeling that look at what he's tied to the wall.
Yeah.
He's watching a cooking show, making a cake. Um, like to me, that's kind of torture, but he doesn't know any better. He's a big guy. He's able to even pull because of the chocolate bar. He's able to pull the chains out of the wall. So
Hmm.
it's kind of like, are you really stuck, or is it because you have a child's brain? And I like that innocence of the child that they bring out of Sloth that really connects with Chunk, because I
Yeah.
think the other characters with him would be a little. They wouldn't get the one-on-one that you could get with Chuck.
Yeah. Hmm.
You can really get to know him. He's personable and he shares, and so you
Yeah.
you get to see that he has a big best friend. He can't fight, but that guy can fight. So why not, right?
Yes.
Even
And
turns him on.
oh crap, I just forgot what I was gonna say. It was about Chunk and Sloth. Oh, because well, I guess watching it again now, it was what I was thinking was like, oh man, it's like there's just no way that they would have like had that bond so fast, you
Yeah,
know. But then at the same time, it's like, well, when you're a kid, you can make friends so fast. So it's like, why couldn't they share? I mean, they had obviously they had a bond over food, so and then just building upon that, and they really got each other, you know. So it's like I could see that aspect of them being like becoming fast friends, you know.
that's a good point. That is a very, very good point. And you're right. Adults suck because children don't pass judgment. He's just sitting there talking to him. And I mean, they say the darndest things. Isn't that what they say kids do? But
Yeah.
they don't, like, he doesn't really pass a judgment. Like, he's just like, hey, I don't want you to kill me, but I'll share this with you. And you're right. I think it's the fact that because it's lost an adult, he's a grown, whether he thinks of it like a child, he's an adult, but that's because he thinks like a child. He's able to think like Chunk,
Yeah.
and Tim and Chunk are able, and that's a cool way. You're right. He doesn't see Chunk as a bad guy or a good guy. He's like, oh, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big deal. See, and that's not okay. As we're talking about it, this is what I like about how we're doing this. So now there's another layer of friendship there that you wouldn't even notice, because I mean, not saying not to notice, but like it's like he's like there's a friendship of the brothers, there's a friend
Mm-hmm.
of the family, there's a friendship of the Goonies, and then there's the friendship of Chunkin and
Sloth.
and Sloth. And then he has to pick at the end, and Sloth pick Chunk because he's like, look at him, look at the way they treat him. It even shows you like the brothers like torturing him right before,
Yeah.
Jake's torturing him right before he gets there, and right before Mikey sees him, and he
Yeah.
sees him like just it's like okay, he knows where he wants to be, but
Yeah.
a
And I
lot
like
of
how he
the
gave his mom a chance too, right?
that's
Because,
true.
but then when she sang the song and reminded him that, no, you dropped me several times, and this is why I look the way I look, and he's like, no, you're not. You don't care. You know, that's why I was like, I think also he chose Chunk too, because he was like, you don't care about me. You know.
That's just, I mean, man, that's like so advanced. I think for kids to really get that,
Yeah,
if you're
exactly.
watching
That's
it,
why it's like it's awesome to watch it as an adult because you're just like,
yeah.
man, so many things like you just don't realize when you watched it when you were that young. Um,
I did see this when I was younger. I mean, it came out in '85. I was born in '84, so I didn't watch that in theaters. But I did see this like in the early '90s.
mhm.
But and I do remember being like, cool, cool. But the sloth character just threw me out of it.
I just
And
like how that made you so scared.
here you go. I just think I mean, I don't know. Maybe
No, I mean I totally get it. I can see that like how that can be like
I
scary for
but I
a young kid, but
but you
just
gotta.
think
I went
that's
all these
funny though.
years. I went all these years of people telling me the Goonies. I'm like, yeah, I don't really know about it that much. You like that? Yeah, I mean, I know it. I've seen it. I understand it. I just there's why do I have this block about it? Why do I have this block? And there it is. Because I'm scared. I'm scared of freaking fictional characters played by football players. Yeah, I'm really to me, I think that's that you could say childish because I was a child, and as an adult, when watching it again, I'm like, okay, I get it. I wasn't scared because also you watch a lot of horror movies as a kid, and they freak you out, and then you watch them as an adult, and you're like, I can see the string, I can see the
Yeah.
string.
Hmm.
Like when the kid, you're like, oh man, he got him good. Also, we didn't have replay like we do now.
True.
So back then, if I saw it, it's engraved in my head that the arrow went through the person's head without the string. But now that you have replay, like I can see the string. Look, let me pause it. Let me go back. Look, there's a string right here. Why? I don't. And that's what I'm trying to get about doing this. I want to forget about that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I really want to just go into the story, go into the characters, go into even I mean the filming and all that is great. Bloopers or mishaps are okay to notice, but I don't want to focus on that. Unless
Hmm.
it's something that really throws the movie off, and you're like, wait a minute, why did that happen? Um, I really just want to focus on the characters, but I'm also like saying that as a disclaimer because when you watch my movies, don't look at the don't look at the flaws, just look at the story. And if there are flaws in the story, look at the movie. And I'm gonna get you one way or another, but we'll figure it out. All in all, like I do have a lot of notes on this. There, just for I mean the '80s product placement with the Pepsi, like they make you have
Oh
to see the
yeah.
Pepsi can.
Hmm.
I was like, wow, the '80s, it sort of started. I like I said, the smart ass tones from the '80s come through. The diaper line. That's like perfect. Like when you were younger, you don't talk back to your elders. This one, like, I don't care.
Oh, so one thing I was like, oh my god, I never like picked. Well, okay, too. So I never picked up on, of course, like the one-eyed Willie, like the dick joke throughout the whole movie. Like, just never picked up on that, of course. And then
Ah.
when Chunk knocks over the statue of David,
There's another one, yeah,
and
it
then
breaks.
like yeah, and breaks it, and then Mikey's like, "That's my mom's favorite part," and I
That's
was just
true.
like, "Oh my god, I never like picked up on that as a kid."
I picked up on that, but I didn't pick up on the one-eyed Willie part till you mentioned it right now. My face is like this on purpose because I did not know. Like I was like, they didn't really do that, did they? Then they did. They did. They really like. I was like, because you're and I'm mistaken. Is this a Disney movie?
No.
No, it's a Spielberg movie. Okay, because Disney does the pee pee thing a lot, but this one too. You're right. They did that in the One-Eyed Willie the whole time. It's right in your face. Ugh.
Yeah, I
But
was just
yeah, I
like, oh,
guess.
I never picked up on that until I, watched it now, and then but I was like, but that's also like hilarious, right? Like the person who wrote this movie, like Spielberg or Christopher Columbus. Wait, no, Chris Columbus. What's his name? He like, I was like, man, that's awesome. I would have totally done that too. Like, just like that. But I was like, that's hilarious.
Well, it's story by Spielberg, so and the script is by Columbus. So maybe they met in the middle because it's kind of blended in there, kind of obvious, but kind of it kind of goes with the story. Like it goes,
Yeah.
you kind of need it. But
Mm-hmm. But that
oh
also kind
man,
of goes with that the humor of the movie too.
oh yeah. But that's what I noticed. Like, oh, dude, Sloth doesn't get introduced to an hour and 7 minutes, so there's a lot of like little build up for that. I also like the pee break scene. I thought that was kind of you kind of see that there's like a little bit of a maturity or growth, I guess you would call it, or grown-ups, where it's
Mm-hmm.
like he goes, the little boy's room is to the left and the little girl's to the right, and then Mikey and all them are going to the left, and then Brandon is in the middle, and he goes, where are you going? The men's room.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes in there, and then all the kids are like, oh well, I mean, Dada and Mouth are like, well, I want to go in there too. We're going
Mm-hmm.
to the men's room, and that's kind of like, I remember when I was a kid, I never really looked into like, I want to be a man and I want to do guy stuff. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I was still like, I guess we'll just chill as kids because we're kids. So
Mm-hmm.
but I do remember a lot of my friends like wanting to be like more a little bit more mature, get chicks, all that stuff. I was like, I don't know, it's a bad idea, guys. Let's just hang out. It's like we shouldn't be trying to do this, man. I've been raised by women; they're just kind of hard. It's like, but I think that's kind of showed that in the movie too, like where their little boys are becoming kind of like closer to men, I guess.
Yeah, because I think their age range is like 12 to
Yeah.
16. So I mean, they are starting to go, yeah, to that next stage.
Even the smartass remark, can you bring us water? And they bring us back those like apple juice looking
Or
waters.
whiskey, or I
I
don't know
was
what they're
yeah,
bringing up.
and they go, "This isn't water." He goes, "It's wet, isn't it?" I was like, "Oh God, it's a good line." I right here, the stiff. It's a stiff because Chunk he has to deal with that dead body a few times, and it's like
Yes.
it's and even like I like the way they did it because they didn't just do like Chunk coming out of the forest or the woods, and then there's like he runs into the family,
Mm-hmm.
what they call the Cortelli or
Fratellis.
Fratelli. He doesn't run into them. He runs into like I mean you don't run. He's first see a car just pass by, so you're like okay, well, there's cars, there's traffic, but then he opens up and he starts talking to which is a great shot by the way because
Mm-hmm.
it shows Chunk and it shows the kind of the angle from the driver's point of view, and you don't really get to see him. And he's telling him, "Oh, there's the Fratellis. I know him. I can identify him." He's basically telling him everything, and then he turns the light on and it shows that you see it's him
Mm-hmm.
as the Fratelli, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." It's there subtly, but I like what did I write about that? Oh, when he spills the scenes, he spills it for 3 scenes. He tells us everything.
Oh,
Spill
I
beans.
love
He does
that
it
part.
for
Yes.
he does it for three. He keeps going, and he gets into his elaborate story about him throwing up at the movies and made
Yeah.
everyone else throw up.
I know. I was like, oh, and I think that's actually probably what made me like him the most in the movie was his confession scene.
Yeah, and I think he's lovable in this movie. Now that I think about it, there's a few guys in my high school that were called Chunk, where they make fun of him. I'm like, that's a good one. That's a good reason. You may be a little bit out of shape, but the personality is it's a good one. He's a he's it was I don't think he's a bad. If somebody compares you to him, I don't think it's a bad thing. Also like the Cyndi Lauper cameo.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was kind of a montage cameo in a way, where because that song kind of starts a little montage where they're sneaking out of the house.
Yeah.
But the way they did it is they're watching it in real life. They're watching it on TV, and it just kind of the music just kind of takes over, and you see a montage. I like that little '80s little wink in the face there. the negative 07, the double O negative. I'm 007. Like just the way they just interact with each other. It feels like there's a brother for all of them.
Yeah.
Like the way they talk to each other, the way they do everything to each other. They don't hate each other. They don't really put each other down. They're not like viciously like telling each other like. I mean, even when the oldest one gets Brandon gets mad at Mouth, he just turns the water on him in the sink. He doesn't even like try to beat him up, which I thought that was like from a film story point, that was pretty cool to kind of go that route.
Mm-hmm.
What else was saying? Oh, this part got me really like, I was like, all right, this is where it makes a Spielberg movie. The wishing well scene. What did you think about that?
So my favorite part actually about the wishing well scene is with Mal, because Steph's character, she's telling, because they're trying to take all the money and put it in their pockets, like the wishes, and she's like, those are people's wishes, don't take them. And Mouth was like, well, this one right here is my wish, and I'm taking it back. I'm taking them all back, and that showed his character in a different light, and I liked that the most on that scene, because it opened up. He's not just like the smart ass character. He has some depth to him. Yeah.
That part. I was like, oh, I'm gonna rewatch this little scene a little bit because it really, once again, going back to like Boys to Men kind of feel. Like that's when you realize that they're like I don't know, children and younger youth. Speaking of the devil, hey, favorite shirt. What happens is with them, they have that innocence to them, and they don't know what's going on, and they kind of have to make it out. But there's a point there where reality kicks in, and they realize, oh, this is serious, or this is life. And the fact that you see him have that line, like all these coins, this is my quarter. And the wish and it never came true, so I'm taking them all back because none of them come true. Like he's like, why make a wish if it's not like the other character? She was like those are hope, that's for people, but he's in reality like, no, it doesn't matter. Like doesn't mean anything. And that's where I was like, that's deep. That's really deep. I kind of have the characters all kind of balanced out, but I think I lean a little bit more towards the Mouth character only because it kind of reminds me a little bit of myself, but also the fact that he is kind of like that one part that he has. He is human. He does have like feelings too. He's not just a smart ass. He's also he's fluent in Spanish. He just kind of does what it's the Corey Feldman, like at a young age, he really owned that character. Like they all did a good job, man. Like I have to tip my hat to them. They did a really good job.
Yeah, and that's also where Mikey does his like big speech in the movie too.
Oh, I have it right here, right under it. Yeah.
And that really, I was like, wow, Sean Astin was a really good child actor. Like from that speech, I was like, man, that was pretty awesome, pretty touching.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He has been in a lot of things where he's a little bit younger, and with that speech, though, you're right, because and I don't know if they did it in the movie. Hi, Papa. I don't know if they did that in the movie, but sorry, it's gonna be one little moment. I gotta help out my little guy. Sorry. This podcast is a little bit different, but it'll be different next time. A little bit more better.
This is why editing comes in handy.
This is weird. You want to do this? Grab the puzzles. Come on.
It's almost.
Tell me what you got. All right, I'll just jump cut to this part when we're editing. I'll jump cut from here.
You can like play the song during that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there'll definitely be a jump. What was I saying? Where were we?
Sean Astin's speech.
Because even the okay, so now they're back. Because even the acting in that, you see him. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, because I don't know if they did it in the movie, but in the beginning of the movie, he does have like a little kid innocence to him.
Yeah, because like he's bad with definition or vocabulary. Like,
I
yeah.
I had that here because I correct my youth, my brothers, sisters, and I don't like it, but I'm like, well, they did it to me and it helped me out, so I'm kind of try to help you guys out. But I am the oldest, so know your role.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
but I
because
think
Brant kept on correcting him.
correcting him. But I mean,
Yeah.
he's not really doing it mean. He's just correcting
Oh
him.
no, he's not. Yeah.
And that's when I saw that I was like, well, crap, that's kind of how the way I do it. I'm not trying to be like rude. I'm just like you're saying you're wrong because I get corrected all the time and I don't feel bad about it. I'm like, thank you. Like
Yeah.
maybe I should
Rather know.
before I speak, let me think. And if I don't know what I'm thinking about, maybe I shouldn't be speaking, or maybe I make just certain things. I'm like, oh, but with that, like I see it, he's more. You see the character development at the end. I feel like he's more like open to things. His character is a little bit more. They've gone to things, and they don't even realize there's a dead body right there. They got smushed by the rock. The Copperfield, isn't it?
Chester Copper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's a dead body there the whole time, and then like I mean, the dad in me was like, "Don't touch it. There's bacteria and germs and everything."
And they like try pull through his stuff.
Yep. And then they also the head falls off and they pull the medallion, and then he grabs the head and puts it back on. Like, don't touch the skull. Don't. What are you doing? And then he touches the mouth. He touches his other friend's shoulder. But I did want to say there was that character development that you see, and even like you understand why he got the role for Rudy. And then even like Encino Man, I like his character in that one.
Oh my gosh! Yes, I was like, I forgot he was in Encino Man. That's a good
Oh
movie.
yeah, I love that movie. It's one of my good go-to movies. I can watch that one a lot. It's a Pauly Shore factor too. Brendan Fraser, they kind of help out a lot. What else do I have here that I think I really like? Just that whole the brotherhood, the camaraderie, the taking care of each other, but not having to be like, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. Like they're just like, hey, I care for you, but let's go on. The pirate theme too through the whole movie. You're on a treasure chase. You really are on a treasure chase. I picked up a lot on that. One thing I like too, and the thing that does remind me about the Jake and the Francis and the mother character, the characters, is the way that I don't mean to do this. I really don't. But if I need to talk to my mom and there's other people around, I just directly talk to her in Spanish. It's just easier. And he does that with his mom in Italian, and I was like, okay, I do that too. Okay, I forgot about that. Like he speaks Italian to her while in front of the kids. The Jake character, when they were like, "What are you gonna do with these kids?" Oh, and also the novelty. What was I gonna say? There's two reasons why I brought up those coins, because the wishing well speech was nice, but when they get their false hope of the paper money, the fake money. That's false hope, and they have this sense of like, yeah, we got everything. Like it's like right in the beginning of this journey, we already figured it out. It's good, and it's like no, like that's not the journey. That's an item that you can get on the journey, but it was kind of cool that they didn't have it fixed or done or anything because there's problems with it, so they had to keep going. And that's what I think, like that's kind of cool that the journey is more important than the actual treasure sometimes. And this is that movie showing you that, because you can get the treasure right there, but keep going further and stretch it and
I like that they just wanted to find the treasure to save their town. It wasn't for them to be famous or for them to be rich. It was for them to stay together, and that really came across. They weren't greedy children or anything like that.
Yeah, they're not.
Kids aren't greedy, so I think they were true to that aspect.
And I think you're also absolutely right about that. That children, they're just they do what we do, and the fact that these children are like they're not edgy. I like what you said. You're right. They're not the cool kids. They're not trying to be hip and edgy and we're all cool. They're just being themselves, and in essence, it is cool for them being themselves. And I like that story too. That comes across. This movie might be from '85, but it still translates very well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And maybe a Goonies movie is what we need nowadays, like a little bit something like that. I feel what you can take from this movie is a lot of little just like genuosity from it. I can see the appeal of why people really love it. I can see why people really really like care about this movie, because it's just simple. It's a simple like treasure hunt, but the way you can really like add some emotion to it without making it an emotional movie, just kind of just get all the ties together. It's not like when I say that they're not looking for an Oscar. They're not looking for best performances. They're just doing
It's a heartfelt family movie, you know.
I like it when Corey Feldman, when the Rosalita character leaves and he goes, "Adios, señorita." Like he just tells her like he's just like tortured her. And by the way, I believe that character, that actress, is the one that was in Selena, who played
Yep.
Yolanda. No wonder I hated her.
Yep.
No wonder I was like, I don't mean to. You just played a character that's still too touching for me. I don't mind. But I was like, oh, I hate no. But I even like the introduction of her was kind of cool. I mean, even like like there's, I mean, what Selena was made 11 years later. So yeah, that's not maybe 12. It was a good little distance before. So I want to see what else she was in. What other stuff she did prior to that. She has done some other movies, but I know.
Yeah, it's like I've seen her, and probably like even in television, but I can't. But I think that's just like her iconic role. Is like,
Yeah, so
it's hard to like look past that.
nah, she's never. I think there's a
Yeah.
meme that came out that said, oh, casted in like '96, never been casted since. Like, I like The Addict. I wrote down here because it's all the information and all those old paper clips and everything. It's the internet. It's a little bit of the internet. How the internet is, if the internet is physical, it's library, and that's what he had there. That's I like that. I like that the internet was kind of just floating around where people get information. Man, the Troy character. I want to know who inspired that character, because I wouldn't believe it. And like, okay, this is a character in a movie, but I've met those guys. And I'm like, or I even know them. Some of them maybe, I hung out a little bit longer, but I'm like, oh wow, like this is funny. They're like, who pissed Spielberg off this bunch that he's like, I gotta put you in this movie, and I need you to. I'm gonna put this character of you in this movie, and I'm gonna hate on him.
Yeah.
I mean, even the scene where he's in the toilet and the pressure shoots him, like the guy, he gets his head through the sheetrock or through the ceiling, and then he goes, "Daddy," or something. It was because it's a country club is the issue, and well, that's even like a big deal because you're tearing down a city for a country club, and it sounds far-fetched, but that's like happening all the time nowadays. Like and not just country clubs, like we're welcome to Austin, where we have a lot of retail apartment complexes or retail shops at the bottom. We're very unique, and it's the same thing everywhere. And so I can see how like that they make that country club kind of like spiteful, kind of the villains in it without knowing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no, they're doing whatever they're doing what they're doing, and they're doing I guess what in their eyes is right, but in the morality of it, so you're kind of like crapping on regular people.
Yeah, they're displacing people. Oh, little guy.
All right, sorry. Pause. So there's going to be a few jump cuts on this. So be careful. Be ready, everybody. There'll be some jump cuts.
Oh gosh. Well, I guess you never would have seen this scene because you didn't watch it in its entirety before. But so the first time I ever saw the Goonies, I guess I saw the maybe extended version because right before they go onto the pirate ship, when they're in the water after they slide down that awesome slide scene.
Oh yeah.
Which that made me so excited watching that as a kid because I was like, that would have been so badass. But there was like an octopus that like was trying to like attack them and drown them, and that's actually in the original cut.
The whole scene's in there.
Yes.
So they shut.
But so when the version I watched, I only saw it the one time, and then I've never been able to see it on any other version of it. And even the version I saw a couple days ago, it cut out the octopus scene. And then, but at the end of because then I thought I was crazy because I was like, maybe that really wasn't in the movie. But then at the very end of the movie, like all the news reporters gather around the kids and they're asking them questions. And one of the reporters asked them like, what was like the most scary thing about it? And Data replies, the octopus was the most scary. And I was like, hey, so I'm not crazy. They put the octopus scene, but they cut it out. And
there are Is it kind of graphic, or is it just kind of?
I mean, I don't know. No, I mean, I guess it is a little scary, I guess, if you're a kid watching it, because like he's trying to drown them, but because he is attacking them, but
Well, this is a good topic you bring up, because there are some movies that when I watch the first time you go around, and then there's not in there the second time or the third time, and you're like, well, I could have sworn the first time I saw it. Usually it's
yeah.
like right when the movie comes out, or right like it's because they'll catch it or something
Hmm.
like that. I'm trying to think right now. There's a movie that every time the ending changes, it has like kind of like there's, and I can't remember the movie right now, but there's this movie where I'm like, I've seen the original cut of this movie. I remember watching this in the theaters. I was real little, and it's not how it ends. Like, this is not how it ends.
Hmm.
And
And
but
then you
it's
think
like
you're
they,
crazy.
no, you think you're crazy. We're taking our crazy pills. I think the fact that you caught that's really cool, because that might have just been maybe time restriction, if anything, to also maybe just the child's part, because it is a kids movie, but I think it's PG-13. Is this movie PG or PG-13?
It's PG. Yeah, I looked it up.
Yeah, because they do say the word shit, but you only get one.
No, you did it a lot.
They did a lot in this. Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? 85. I don't think maybe they. I don't know. We got
No,
look.
because
I got.
I thought it was going to be PG-13 too, and then when I looked it up, it was just said PG. But I'm like, man, they say shit a lot. But I
Yeah, because
guess
Chum
that was
says it
fine
says it a
then.
few times. Oh yeah, I mean, it's still not fine
I mean,
now.
now, but I was really
But
surprised in
but
'85 it was
no, but I'm
fine.
saying for ratings purposes, it would be considered PG-13 nowadays.
Oh,
But
okay.
there's a whole thing about I saw on the internet that why they did PG-13, because they just had PG and then rated R.
Oh,
And
okay.
then so there's a lot of movies like, well, this isn't really a rated R movie, but it's not a PG movie. Then they invented PG-13, and the TV nowadays, or back a couple of years ago, or no, like 10 years ago, it said it was a PG-14. I was like,
Oh, okay.
whatever. Like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm already older. I don't have to worry. Now I have a kid. I'm like, okay, now I gotta worry.
Hmm.
Well, my whole thing is if he stumbles upon it, then I can't do anything about it. But I don't really want to show him. Like, I'm a big Nightmare on Elm Street guy, and I don't want to introduce him to one of my favorite characters just
Hmm.
yet. I gotta wait. I
That's the
want to
one
wait till he's
that
older.
freaked me out as a kid. Was
See,
Freddy?
I guess because you get a lot of Freddy. Like, if they only had Nightmare on Elm Street 1, where he's like his kind of his darkest, then yeah, I could see him being a very scary character. But if there's a bunch of them, then they make him kind of cartoonish. And then his portrayals of Robert Englund's portrayals as Freddy, he's kind of slapstick, even though he's killing you. But the burned skin, I could see scaring people with the glove and everything.
Well, the scene that I like could never, I mean, to this day, still is like ingrained in my memory is like he stabs a girl in the leg with his needles and they turn into eyeballs.
Oh, you're
That
talking.
like freaked me out.
So you're talking about Nightmare on Elm Street 3, the Dream Warriors,
Okay, I just
and,
remember
and
watching
there's a
like
character named
yeah,
there's a
that
character
like
named Terry.
ruined me for life.
There's a character named Taryn that is a drug addict, and that's how he kills her. He I guess his pumps are full of drugs, but it's not
That's
eyeballs.
terrible.
They're mouths.
Oh, okay.
They're
Isn't it
suction. They're like,
weird what you remember as a kid? Like it's distorted now. But yeah, I just remember like it became like alive, like her leg became alive. And
oh,
I was like,
it's her arm.
damn, see, I think it was I'm all like
She
messed
has she
up.
it's her old track marks from when she used to shoot up heroin,
Jeez.
and that's where it shows. It's a very
Good thing
dark,
I
but
don't remember that very
and you know
well.
what's crazy, and I love that I'm talking about this with you, because that movie you were like no, and I'm like yes, but freaking Goonies, I'm like no. And it even tells you, because I'm right here, like I'm not really. I'm not. I'm just clarifying it for. I was gonna say defend, but I'm not defending it. I'm clarifying for you the characters and how it happens. And I'm like, oh, because I love these movies. I'm deep, and then you see it with you on this movie. The characters' names, everything from the spots and everything, because you love this movie,
Mhm.
and it shows that we both have a love for different tastes. But you can see it in there. I like that you can see. I can tell with you right away. You're like, oh yeah, the Goonies. I love this movie. And then the Nightmare on Elm Street. You're like, he got her. He shot her up in the freaking toes. No, but like I could totally see that being way more. That's dark. That's real dark. That is rated R. Um,
Yeah, my neighbors had HBO, and so
Oh, dude,
we would
I
go over there, and they loved scary movies. And so every time I would go over there, we had to watch like whatever scary movie was on HBO at the time, and that one just like really messed me up.
so for the record, Mona's friends and neighbor, I was usually the neighbor kid with the with the horror movies with the black box. I'm that kid you go to your house and watch. Um, oh man, I can talk about those movies. I still watch them all the time, so it's kind of funny when I'm like, I haven't seen it in 3 days. Let me go back and watch it.
See, and that's why I don't like. I swear to God, like that movie is why I don't really watch scary movies. Like I've only seen maybe 10 in my whole life.
Wow, do you even know
Yeah,
about Friday the 13th, Jason Voorhees?
I've never seen it, but I know of
Okay,
it.
so you know Michael Myers,
Yeah.
you know Chucky.
Hmm.
Have you seen any of those movies, Halloween or
I've
Chucky movies?
seen like pieces of Chucky. I've never seen any of the Halloween movies. I'm trying to, I think the last scary movie I saw was Saw. That
Oh,
was like the last one when it was actually in theaters.
I'll tell you this much: if you actually got a like a nerd trivia question right, because Chucky in pretty much all his movies he gets ripped into pieces. So if you've seen Chucky in pieces, they you see the right movies. The Saw movie I've brought this up before is that's one of the movies that I end up enjoying because I knew nothing of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't see a trailer. The only thing I saw was the poster right before we walked in, and it just said Saw on it. So I didn't know what to expect, and it had Danny Glover in it, so it does give you a little face of like a
Oh, you probably enjoyed
recognition.
it more than because I already knew stuff about it because that's after it was kind of like a couple weeks out, and so everybody was like, "Oh
Oh
my
yeah,
god, you should
no,
watch Saw! It's so awesome!" And so I already knew some stuff about it, but it probably was
yeah.
better for you not to know anything.
My girlfriend at the time was like, I got this movie Saw, we're gonna go watch. And I go, well, I Saw, and it was Thursday night or something. She goes, yeah, tomorrow night I'm gonna take you on a date. We're gonna watch it. I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, Saw. I go, I didn't tell me it was a horror movie. Then she just knew that I like movies, and she saw it, and then she wanted to go watch it. So I
Hmm.
was like, all right, cool. I mean, she had older brothers, so I guess older brothers and younger girls, she want to show their sisters horror movies here and there. And she went to go watch it, and I was like, oh, I think you're right. I think if I would have saw anything prior to this movie, like any kind of trailer or any advance, I would have not liked it as much. But
Hmm.
the fact that I saw it like that, and it really like made me get stuck in the movie because I didn't know what to expect.
Hmm.
And now that brings me back up to another topic that I always bring up when I rate movies because we're gonna have to rate this movie. Um, I'll say that there's a nostalgia factor to a lot of movies that I
Oh
watch, and
yeah, for
I
sure.
always throw that in there because my ratings are going to be biased because there's a reason why I watch them at a certain time when I watch them, and I can rewatch them when I'm older and I'm not going to have the same feeling, or maybe it
Hmm.
does, but I'll go first on the Goonies, and usually if you want to do a rating system for this, I have a few of them. With the pun, it's 1 through 5. With Ben, we do 1 through 13. Do you want to do if you were to rate this, would you the 1 through 13 is kind of it's a little misleading because
I was like, odd number.
because the way it's kind of cool. He thought of it and then I added to it and I was like, oh cool, I like the way he did that. I didn't think about it, but because there's 11, we went to 13. So basically, there's a zero. I mean, 1 through 10 listing ratings,
Hmm.
and one being the weakest, 10 being the strongest. So if I vote a movie a 10, it is a movie that I'm saying it's a must watch. It's a great movie, story, characters, everything's there. If I rate a 10, but it's not a 13.
Hmm.
Now a 13 to me can be like the perfect movie. A movie that I watch and I can quote, or I'm not even really quote, but I get lost in it. I learn something from it. It's made. There's no editing issues. The acting's perfect. The soundtrack's perfect.
Hmm.
Like those are kind of. But also, I've noticed with these movies, they're more nostalgia movies to me.
Yeah.
So a 13, like for me, like what would you rate? Like I rated Bedazzled a 13, and I rated Swingers, the John Favreau movie, one of his first movies. I rated that a 10 because I felt like Swingers is more of an acquired taste,
Hmm.
and you have to like. I think if you were around that time or like a younger person watch it now, it's about a breakup, a heartbreak, a heart, But if you watch it now, it'd be okay. But I feel like if you watched it then and then you watch it now, you still remember back then, and you still. So to me, it's not a 13 because it's I think it's a must watch. So I gave it a
Hmm.
10. but it's not one of my 13s because 13 is gonna be one of my top 10 movies, top 13
Okay,
movies.
gotcha.
So but I'm also saying like I would totally tell a filmmaker to watch Swingers
Hmm.
because you can gather from it. But like I watched Bedazzled, and I think Bedazzled is a 13 for me because it hits everything for me. I think you can put that movie on now, the Brendan Fraser version with Elizabeth Hurley. You can put that movie on now, and it is still as if you saw it in the 90s. Like it's funny, it makes sense. You get the references. It's not outdated. So to me, I'm like that's like a 13 right now. You can
Hmm.
I can show it to my son now when he's 2, or I can show it to him when he's 10, and it's still gonna hopefully still have the same feel to it, to where it's like it's just that good. But that's because
Hmm.
that's the way I saw it, and when I saw it when I was there. So 13s to me are going to be something that makes it on my top 10 list.
Gotcha.
So me explaining all this is basically saying if this is your top 10 movie, it might be in the 13s, or if this is a movie that or maybe like top 20. I kind of do top 25. If you like that, and because that way I just kind of say that kind of because I want people to see this movie. Like I'm gonna rate this like a 9
Hmm.
because this is a great movie. Just the Spielberg effect. It's a must watch. What else do I have here on my notes about this? Oh man, even okay, I gotta bring this up real quick because even like personality on the characters, Dad's character falls through the floor, and that little goofy scene where he shoots up the slinky with
Oh
the mouth,
yeah. Hmm.
like he was the one that needed to fall.
Hmm.
Anybody else would have fallen, they would have died.
Died. Yeah.
But the fact that he did that, and I'm like, see, that's the thing. You get that he has these gadgets, but he doesn't need to talk to them. He just shows you,
Hmm.
and to me, that movie, like, that's why I mean, it's a 10. It's like a 9 or 10, a 10 rating for me because it's a must watch. You understand it. You get the characters. You understand their motives. There's no real flaws. There's no. I mean, other than this octopus, apparently they kept out because that means he says it in the movie that if you watch it, there's no octopus. So kind of throws you off, you
I
know?
know. I was like, I guess it. I just was, didn't remember it right. And then when he said it at the end, I was like, I knew it. I wasn't nuts.
Wasn't nuts. But like that's what I would rate. Like definitely, it's a must watch. It's not in, obviously it's not in my top 25,
Hmm.
but I would recommend somebody to watch this if you had your like your siblings, you want to watch it with some siblings or your family. A family, it's a family movie for sure.
Hmm.
Um, I would sit down and watch my. I mean, I didn't own this movie. I didn't purchase this movie. I already owned this movie because my wife owned it. So
Oh.
that's when I showed you the picture. I was like, I thought it was on because I could have sworn it was on Prime the other day for the Goonies. It suggested it to me, and it only suggests movies that you can watch on Prime.
Hmm.
So I clicked it and it said $3.99. I was like, wait a minute. And then when my buddy came by earlier, when my buddy with the car problems,
Hmm.
he was like, oh, you watching the Goonies? Are you writing? I go, yeah, you're doing the Goonies. He goes, I just saw it last night. And
Oh.
I was like, where'd you watch it? He goes, it was just on. He was like, it was just on TV.
Yeah, I feel
And
like it's just on TV all the time.
I was like, okay, then why did I have to go through my little journey to go find the good? Because it was I have like 4 spots where the DVDs are at because there's a lot, and I say that this one was in the area that belongs to the missus. So yeah, the I had to go digging in those piles, and I started looking in there, and I'm like, oh, there's a lot of good 80s stuff in here, like 16 Candles and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I love
So
that.
like that's another movie. Like I'd have to rewatch it because I can't really remember. It's not one of my movies, but like that's a must watch movie for a filmmaker for sure. For a
Hmm.
filmmaker, a storyteller, a writer, watch that. As a viewer, I'm not saying I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying I wouldn't. It's not on top of my list, but I think you should watch it.
Hmm.
So all that being said, what
Hmm.
would you rate this movie? Where do you think
My
it would fall
rating.
on your list?
I would probably give it. Well, I don't. It's really hard because I don't really have like top movie picks per se, but I would definitely give it like 11 just because of my nostalgic factor with it. So I'm going beyond because what it meant to me as a kid and what it still like represents to me now as an adult. Because just like in watching it, I was like, oh man, I like get this energy, from watching it. And I think it's because like the kids are just so energetic and it makes you remember when you were a kid and how much energy you had. And it just kind of rubs off on you that way. And they're just so hopeful and optimistic. And like, because they are going, like, because if you think about it, they are having like a hard time in their life. It's like
Yeah.
they're about to be separated they're all going to be moving to other cities. This is their last like big hurrah. So it's like they are still like trying to have fun, but they're also like have that idea in the back of their minds, like we have to do this because we're going to try to save our friendship. We're trying to save our town. So
Yeah.
just I just really like this movie a lot.
And I that's why I was saying that because you have a more of a nostalgia than I do, and also I'm kind of a weakling to some movies like this because you're right, there is a very bad issue happening to them. They're about to lose their whole town, and they just go with it. You know that's the issue, but that's it. Like it doesn't keep coming back to you because it's literally just a piece of paper that's going to say evicted. So they're trying to stop that. So it shows you all the other things. I don't really go down this road too much, but like I don't have a really good relationship with my brother, my middle brother. But we work on it. We get a good on it. But like that, when it shows you like this movie, you see the brother camaraderie. That's why I'm kind of like, oh, maybe that's why I was like, the friendships, like all that, like the friends that they're all together. Like it really, like you really want those kind of friends growing up. You really want to have that bond with your guy friends, and to me, it seems like even so. I went to the Fan Expo last year, and I met Corey Feldman and Shane Astin. And they're right next to each other. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the character for Dada's name, but he was there too. And
was it for the Goonies? Were they representing the Goonies?
No, they were representing, I believe, Stranger. They were all. I think Shane Astin was. I think Shane Astin there was for Stranger Things, and then Corey Feldman and the Dada character were just there, but they were next to each other.
Aww.
But you can see each other as they interact, and you still see that they have that friendship there.
Oh yeah, I mean they experienced something big when they were coming of age.
Yeah.
I think you can't ever break that bond.
I think just in general, not just like the movie, but just growing up and spending that time with each other.
Yeah.
I think I get a little deep into that where I'm like, what we should have good memory, but I'm like, just let the memories happen and see what happens. And I don't like controlling things too much. And I don't say we don't have a good relationship, we just bump heads a lot.
Yeah.
So it's just like I'm like, well, I mean, I feel like if we were to sit down and watch this, I'm like, look, that's what brothers do, dude. But
when I was doing like some research on the movie, because I was like, oh man, I don't remember, or I was like, I don't know some of the people's like real names, besides people that are still acting to this day, because it's like we all know who Sean Astin is and Josh Brolin, but I was like Corey Feldman, but I was like, man, what happened to these other people, So I was like looking them up. But I came across, I was like, which I'll watch probably tonight, is Josh Gad has a YouTube channel, and he brought all of them together and did a Zoom for charity. And I was like, I'm totally watching that later because I want to see like how they interact all together, on Zoom now, like because this is his 35th anniversary this year.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna bump up your rating to a 12 because you're really into the Goonies. I'm bumping you up to 12 there. That's it. I wouldn't even say a 13. It probably is like real close to your top 10. But
I guess for like child movies, right? Like, I mean,
yeah.
That's why it's like I don't really have like. I mean, I have favorite movies, but I don't know how many those are. You know what I mean?
I'm slowly on my IMDb page. I'm collecting all the movies I'm watching. There's a little part you can check in, and I want to talk about them, but I'm getting up there. I'm in the 40s now. And I haven't really posted. I'm actually more than 40 because I haven't even posted the movies I've been watching because I don't even know how to like. I want the podcast to get started and then talk about them. But at the same time, I'm like collecting more and more work to do, and I'm kind of like I'm gonna eventually pick what my favorite movie is gonna be because I'm just doing it like, would I watch this movie or would I put this movie? And there's like a line in order, and I could just literally put like I would put this movie over this one over this one. I am finding out that I'm a huge Bruce Willis fan. I didn't realize that. I'm a huge Bruce Willis. I didn't even realize that. I love his movies. And like even getting to meet Shane Astin and Corey Feldman as adults, like you can talk to them about like anything, bring it from them, from Goonies, or I brought up a conversation with Corey Feldman of this older movie he made, something about like, it's like, I don't think it's called Touched by an Angel, but it was some movie he did where he dies. And the character, he like falls on a window and it cuts him in his stomach and he bleeds out, or the window falls on him. And I told him, I was like, I remember watching that movie as a kid, and I remember crying because you died. And he goes, "Oh no, man!" But he knew exactly the scene I was talking about. He brought up the movie, and I was like, "Oh man!" Like I made him. He was kind of like, "It's okay, bro." I'm like, "I know I'm an adult now, man." Kid, as a kid, I was like, but it's kind of funny. I'm really laughing at this because, like, I'm laughing inside because it's like, I did that with Goonies. I'm doing that with this other movie, and now I'm like, man, I didn't realize I had these mental blocks on a movie. There are some
Mm-hmm.
movies that I think, and I think this one now that I see it, and I'm an adult, and the one thing that got me was just the sceneries. Everything in this movie is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I like the houses with the little picos with the little points, like the A point on them. I love those houses, and the fact that there's a bunch of them in there, and there's some that are pink and yellow and light blue, and I'm like, oh, so cool. Those little houses that just kind of hide in the hill a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have those scenes. I'm just like, oh, I want more of this. I want more of the. I guess I'm getting real caught up on movies that can bottle time,
Oh, uh-huh.
and this movie definitely has a little bit of bottle time, and like Swingers is all bottle time. But like this one, like I like watching those and being like, oh, that's awesome. That might not ever exist again, or that might not be there right now.
Yeah.
So
'Cause,
movies to me
oh,
are like a
yeah.
time
Well, sorry.
frame.
One critic. Gosh, man, I wish I wrote his name down. But he was like talking about. It was on Vulture, and he was talking about how he's so thankful that this movie was made in the 80s because he's like, if it was made now, it wouldn't be anything like what it is. Because we just have so many different. Um, it probably wouldn't have been, I guess, as real, right? Because like Chunk, like they probably, because they make fun of him being overweight. I mean, thus his nickname. Like that probably would have been taken out because everything's so PG now.
PC, yeah.
Yeah, and so and like probably the abuse on Sloth wouldn't have been as bad, but it's just like that stuff was more. It made the movie more real. You know what I
It
mean?
does. It gets it. I think, and you're right. It's like when you're talking and you say something and somebody right away cuts you off with like, "Oh my God, you can't say that," or it's like, "Well, you kind of cut me off." Like,
Yeah.
so in this kind of movie, like either you're gonna take it all in as it is, and if you're right, if you were to make that like nowadays, it would definitely be PC. And I mean, you'd have like the characters you'd have to make them all go to their houses so you can introduce see how everyone interacts with their parents, and
Mm-hmm.
they do something like that, or like I'm the cool kid. Like that's the thing. Like they try to make all these kids so cool nowadays, and it's like you can't make it. They're not all cool.
Mm-hmm.
They're not all the nerds. They're not all like just let it
Yeah.
happen naturally. And I think what also happening is as we've been raised, we without knowing we've kind of been segregated a little bit. Like a little bit of classism. Where people think like, oh, you're rich, so you have everything. And it's like, well, no, I'm sad because I don't
Mm-hmm.
have time with my family. Or you're poor, you're dumb. Well, no, I'm poor because my family got into some debt or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
no, you're poor because you're stupid. Well, I'm not stupid. I just I'm poor. It's weird how like you can see that how they have to show it. I feel like they have to show it these days, or they have to talk about it. Like it needs to be a topic in the movie where it just can't just be a movie. And this is just a movie.
Yeah.
And that's what I really like about this.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great movie. It literally is about, I mean, there's 11-year-old boys, and they're just they're I mean, there's a kiss scene in it that you're kind of like, what? That's kind of, it's not like not head scratching, but just the way that how it happened. Like, really, this girl kissed you? She had her eyes closed the whole time. But then you realize that's the 80s. That's how it was in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
That's like it was a little bit more like not, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but nowadays it's just like everything's like they use sex for everything. You have, I mean, I don't want to bring this topic up again, but the Cuties movies. Have you heard of that? Cuties?
No.
It's a movie on Netflix right now. It's getting a lot of controversy. It's a French filmmaker, female that made it, and I'm sorry, I don't know her name. They're saying that on the reviews online. I only saw the first 30 minutes of it, but basically it's showing like how teenager girls from South Africa. It's like that's when it's shot in South Africa. They're like showing them acting like adults, kind of like doing like I don't know, twerking and
Like they're
yeah,
over
that kind of,
sexualizing
yeah, we're
themselves.
sexualizing, and you're, so if we were to make the Goonies now, this was what we'd get, these kind of girls over sexualizing guys doing that. So I like that these are just kids being kids, and there's a threat
Mm-hmm.
there, but how would the sloth character be made nowadays? Like what would you do? Like how would you have
Yeah.
this being be in the movie that shows that he's strong as being in there, but he's not the brightest, and it's not, it's just the way he's raised. Look, there's a lot to the Sloth character that he's not just a body. He's not just a like quote unquote like like a freak or of like some nature thing. He's a person. He's got feelings. He cares, and I
Yeah.
like that you're able to get that.
Hmm. And also watching um like the Sloth character, it made me think of, because they are abusing him, they are bullying him, but it made me think of. Did you watch the new Peanuts movie?
Oh, thank you for bringing that up. I
uh,
just found that. I just found that
okay.
movie, and I was like, I gotta watch it.
I have like Disney Plus now because I caved in, and it's on that, and I
Caved
watched.
in.
I did. I was like, I'm not gonna buy another streaming service, but I did, and it's on there. So I watched it like maybe a couple weeks ago, and they are so much nicer to Charlie Brown in the new movie versus like the original, because I'm sure it's because it's a bullying thing, right? So they're like,
Yeah.
we're not going to emphasize, like we're going to make it more friendly. Like they're not going to be mean to Charlie Brown like they are in the original. Like it's such a big contrast. You need to watch it because like they are so much nicer to Charlie Brown.
I had it on his background. I didn't. I saw it on Disney Plus, and I was like, "Well, I'll put it on for Miko." And he was watching it, and I saw it. I was like, "Well, I don't want to ruin this because I haven't seen it." But if you were to say that, I'm like, I can see people. And usually, like, I mean, I'm just gonna say that I don't care if anybody gets upset or offended or anything, but it's usually by people that have never been bullied,
Mm.
and so it's people what they think what bullying is. So I kind of picked that up where they used to crap on Charlie Brown really bad.
Yes, I mean, even like watching it as a kid, I was still like, man, they're so mean to Charlie Brown, but it wasn't like,
Blockhead.
yeah, but it wasn't like
It's
crazy.
not.
You know what I mean? Like
It's
I
not.
didn't
It's not.
think too much into it.
It's not
Like,
vindictive. It's just little name calling. You
yeah,
know.
it's like they're kids, But it's like
Yeah.
because he still had friends, but he was just like especially Lucy, right? Like her
Yeah.
character. I was always like, man, I wish Lucy wasn't so mean to him. But that's their dynamic. And
Yeah.
then like watching this new Peanuts movie, I was like, I mean, she's still like rude to him, but she's not like what her original character is.
So you're saying there's a
Um,
character change because of the times.
yes, exactly.
I'm, and I'm also saying, like, how old is Mickey Mouse?
Ugh,
He's got to be like 90
yeah,
something.
well,
Like,
yeah, because I was like, when did Steamboat Willie come out? Like 30s, right?
yeah, yeah.
So,
So it's like he's almost 100 years old. So I'm like, why is this Mickey Mouse character still around? He's from like way back then.
mm-hmm.
What's he thinking? What's his mindset? Like he's really old. I came up. I like to watch, like, I put Animaniacs on. It's on Hulu right now. I don't know if you remember that show. It's got,
Yeah.
yeah, I put Animaniacs on from Maxwell, and he loves it. And then it turned into Tiny Toon Adventures, and he really loves it.
Oh yeah,
And
Tiny Toons.
and they have Montana Max character. I like that character for him. I was like, oh, Max, there he is. But watching those, I was like, oh, cool. This he still likes that. So I found the old versions of Garfield, like the 80s. I think it's 87 it was made or something like that. And I was watching them, and they're really good. Like they're not just cartoons. They have a little bit of thought behind them, and adults can watch them. And I'm like, is this kind of the beginning part? And then Garfield wasn't so lazy.
Oh, back then.
Yeah, like he actually had imagination, and he would do stuff. And I know in the '90s when they brought Garfield back, with Garfield and Friends and all that, they made him more of a troublemaker.
Oh,
But yet
okay.
he wasn't. He's. I can see. Okay, now that I'm bringing this up, I'm saying like this character development, because now like Garfield now he's just, I'm lazy.
Yeah, he's really lazy
What?
now.
Yeah, he's really lazy now. But I mean, how old is Garfield now? Is he like 50,
That's
60?
true.
Yeah, how old is Garfield now? But I think it's like he there's you have decades of this one character trying to be. I think when I'm getting on my animated series, I'm definitely gonna age my characters. Like, Bart Simpson is still in high school. Okay, it's like,
I
or junior.
know, that's so
It's like,
crazy.
no, I need to catch up on Simpsons. I say I'm gonna binge it, but I haven't done it. Um, well, I feel like we're coming to kind of a crossroads at the end, but this is actually I'm very very happy we got to do this because you did a lot more research than. But no, you did what I wanted to. I didn't want to ask you to do this. I'm just
Oh
asking you
yeah,
to. So I don't want to take like, hey, take notes and find stuff. And I'm like, I want you to do it on your own. And I was
yeah.
gonna
It's
say, I was like,
funny because I wasn't going to really do research, right? Like, I was like, I'm just gonna watch the movie to like remember, like re-remember it, and then we're just gonna talk about it. But watching it, I was like, no, I wanna I want to know why this is why it is, you know, like I wanted to. So that's actually, I wasn't intending on doing any research, but then I was like, no, I was like, I want to know why. Yeah, I was like, why are they named the Goonies? And
Yeah.
like, why did, you know, I couldn't remember a lot of the stuff, and I was just like, man, I didn't even remember it was like a Spielberg movie, you know. And then looking into who directed it, because I didn't know who Richard Donner was, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh wow, he did Superman. Like I loved all the old Superman movies and Lethal Weapon, so it was just
Oh
like really
yeah.
cool to just know a little bit more backstory too.
I like the Superman movies. Christopher Reeves. It's
Yes, yeah.
Superman, man. He's Superman. I like Brandon Roth too. I think a lot of people give him crap, but I think he could have been Superman real easy. Ralph, whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm. I always thought
I,
it was
oh,
that one.
that's another thing I'm finding out about the podcast as I go back and edit them. I thought I spoke very well, but I don't. I butcher names and I
Well,
I
hey, I didn't even remember my like deepest fear of Freddy until you corrected me. Like it's just amazing like what you think you saw. And
well, I mean,
then
well, no, I think it's different because I'm actually just read the names and I didn't remember. Like, so what I'm saying about notes, like I'm writing them down and like all my notes are coming a little different, and all my notes are basically I like like your technique too, where it was more like there's some fun facts,
Mhm.
and I'm learning that that might be an addition I need to do because there are some stuff I find, but I'm like I don't want to share them, and then also we start talking, and then I'm like, oh, let me share this idea that I halfly remember.
Mhm.
So, I'm like, all right, let me do a little better job. But what is it? Are there, sorry, my acting. Um, are there any movies that you can see that you want to spin off that you'd watch this week? They're like kind of like this, or anything you gathered, or anything from this conversation, or is there any movie that, other than, I think you did say you wanted to watch, sorry, you just said it right now. Um, I'm sorry, brain fart. But
I
is there any
remember.
movie? Yeah, because usually the way we do it is when we talk, and at the end of the conversation, we'll find.
Yeah, because
A,
it triggers like your memories and I mean mainly like now I'm just like, oh man, I want to go back and watch all like the 80s films that I like loved, because when you said 16 Candles, I was like, oh, I love 16 Candles. I love The Breakfast Club, and I love The Babysitters Club, you know.
yeah,
And it's just like, wow, this like made me think of a lot of movies I haven't seen in like at least, you know, 10 to 15 years. So I was like, maybe I will do like a John Hughes night, just watch a bunch
dude,
of his.
yeah, John Hughes. Yeah, but it's crazy right now when you said, I like 16 Candles, and then you brought up Babysitter Club. My brain went there, like that avenue. Like when you started, I was like, oh, cool. She's on that road. That they're all kind of connected in a way. Like
Yeah.
not to say they're all John Hughes movies, or just the 80s. The 80s was a little bit. What I'm gathering watching all these 80s and 90s movies is that there is a part, and I guess in the decade where there's like a hard shift,
Mm-hmm.
and the movies are definitely an awareness of it. I have a feeling that over the time, or I felt over the time that past people really got this cool thing down. Like everybody wants to be James Dean kind of style character in a movie
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, and it's like, well, James Dean only did 3 movies, so
Yeah,
he's,
that's
he's like,
true.
it's like I don't, it's like and that's actually really cool because he only did 3 movies. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of people like, I say that because they want to be just cool in every scene. Everybody wants to make a movie where it's just cool, cool, and I'm like, you got to get that word out of the movies because it has
Mm-hmm.
to happen on its own, and you don't force character. Like I remember being on movie sets and just losing, just like losing the win for myself because people would be like, no, this is the way to, and then getting away from the story or getting. It's just they're more about the theatrical of being on set than actually making the movie. Where my mind nowadays is more like, no, the movie is more important. That's what we're here. That's what brings us together.
Mm-hmm.
And when I watch a movie like this, I just see like, because I think that's what Spielberg you're gonna get. Like you're gonna get a really good, high quality product.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna, if these are movies that he makes the Ginsu knives of movies, and there's a reason why. And you can kind of really, as I watch this, I just steal so much from it. I have to remember that I'm watching a movie because I'm like, oh, how did they get that shot? Oh, how they get this? Oh, where did they do that nice placement? Oh, I'm looking at that now, and I don't like doing that because I'm kind of taking the viewer's power, and I'm giving it more like the I guess the filmmaker guy on, and I'm like, I want to be more in the world because that's what you go to escape.
Mm-hmm.
You go to kind of forget the reality of what you're in to kind of help you kind of whatever, just entertain you or help you pass time. But with these kind of movies, like when you said Lethal Weapon, I can watch all those movies. Those are pretty cool. I found out that I did binge all the Die Hard movies.
You
I
know,
have
I've never seen a Die Hard movie.
I would recommend you go watch Die Hard 1,
How many
Um,
are there?
3, 4, 5, 6, I think now.
Oh,
There's
geez.
no. There's four. There's five, I think, because it's the three original, and then the one with his son, and then one with his daughter, or the one with his daughter and the one with his son. So I think
Mm,
there's five. Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't seen. I've seen them, but I don't remember them. And
yeah.
that's another thing I've noticed that anything outside of my high school or my like elementary and all that, those movies like they're. I remember them pretty easy. Anything outside had to have like a major event to kind of connect it to, or it's kind
Hmm.
of like it's a movie I have to, or if it has to be. If it's what I'm trying to say, if it's not a really good movie that I'm like, oh, that movie. But like it's like there's some movies that don't do that for me, and I gotta say, this movie, I'm happy we did it because I got way more than I bargained for.
I'm glad you got to finish it.
Yeah. I mean, I have finished the movie. I just didn't remember it because I didn't want to remember it.
Yeah.
And I started seeing, I was like, okay, that's that scene. Okay, that's that scene. I like, I just like seeing the characters. A lot of those characters went on to do more stuff, not just the kids, you know, a lot of the characters. What's her name? Felicity's in that movie? Who's the mom? The mom character isn't that? Oh no, that's not
Oh,
her. I'm thinking I'm getting her confused with someone else. Or is that her? Felicity Huffman, the one that got in trouble? Is that her or
I
no?
don't think so. I don't think that's
No, someone
her.
else. That's a good. I forgot what other movie she comes out in. She plays. I'm sorry. See, this is the type of stuff I should know before I open my mouth. She was another mother in another movie. I can't remember which one, but oh, it was Monster Squad. I think she's the mom from Monster Squad.
Mm,
See,
I've
that's
never seen
another
that.
cool. That you never seen Monster Squad?
Mm-mm.
I think I need to let you borrow it, or you need to watch it. That is kind of the Goonies meets Scooby Doo.
Oh, okay. Is it supposed to be funny?
There, no,
Oh, okay.
but it
But it is
is. Yeah,
funny?
it is funny. I don't want to say it's not a. I hope it's not under a comedy. It's more of it's a horror movie that's a sci-fi, but it has comedy because it's children.
Okay.
But I would definitely rent. I would like for you to watch Monster Squad and then give me
Oh God.
what you think about it. You know, that's. I
Ooh, we
mean, you
should do
get
that for Halloween. We should
what do you
do.
want?
We should watch that for a Halloween episode. Are you doing?
Oh,
So in October, are you doing like scary movies?
I am. I'm starting to finish the ones I did for 2019.
Hmm.
Like I did the 31 days of horror.
Oh, huh.
Do you want to talk about that real quick, or
Sure.
okay, we'll talk about it real quick. So if you want to do this, we can do this. We still got because I honestly think Halloween for me and doesn't look like it right now, but as the 15th of September, that is Halloween. Especially now with all this quarantine, that is Halloween. So my
No, it's like
Halloween's
when
gonna
they release pumpkin spice flavors. That
that's
is
Halloween
officially Halloween.
and Thanksgiving. I love it. And all the seasons. But I'll say this: I watched 31 horror movies. Actually 30 horror movies because there's I watched 31 movies, but around day 17, I think I had to. I didn't like watching all the horror too much. Because my range is all over. I like everything.
Hmm.
I'm the story guy because I really as much as I want to say I remember watching horror movies when I was a kid and as an adult still. I don't know as much stuff as a lot like real diehard fans do about the horror genre. So I don't ever like to say like I'm a horror, but I'm not. I just I've seen a lot of them. We could talk
Hmm.
about them, but to get deep depths, I'm like only the main ones I really have.
Hmm.
But I've totally lost what I was saying. But oh yeah, sorry. So when I was watching the day 16, I got by and I was like, man, I'm watching a lot of death, a lot of horror in it. So I had to watch. I watched Can't Hardly Wait in
Yeah,
between
that's
all
a good
that.
one. Yeah.
Oh, it was like my brain was just going like left or right. It was just going one direction. And then when I watched that, it broke me and brought me back. And then it came back again. Oh, yeah, I have at least I think I have one video on my YouTube where it talks about like the 4 movies that I saw and I did a little mini review. I don't like doing those mini reviews because I like miss out so many things. It's
Hmm.
basically like I want to do like hey, I like to watch this movie because here's these 5 bullet points and let's talk and I want you to go watch it. So, you know, that's why I recommend it. But the mini movies I was doing like I like this movie because I do next movie. I like this movie because I do next. I didn't like doing that. But I think I figured out how to work on that mini review. But I was thinking of doing again the 31 days of horror, but I will take suggestions this time. And I think if you want to jump on that, maybe that could maybe we could because you'd have to watch a bunch of horror movies.
I will watch Monster Squad.
See,
But I don't really want to watch other ones.
that's what I'm saying. You'd have to. I'm gonna bring up like Cujo. Have you heard of Cujo?
Oh, I've heard of Cujo.
So you know you're gonna love a mastiff again. That's a beautiful mastiff. I think no, is he? No, he's not a mastiff. That's the man's best friend. Cujo was a Saint Bernard. And yeah, that's a good one. Also, I mean, have you seen Carrie?
Yes, I have seen Carrie.
Have you seen Christine?
I've never even heard of Christine.
The car?
No, I don't know what.
It's a Stephen King movie. All right, I'm gonna make a little note.
Oh God.
You're not gonna watch. You're not gonna watch 31 movies, but you're gonna watch at least 6. We're gonna bring you. We're gonna update you a little bit. You know, I would totally love to get your perspective on it because I'm already biased 100%.
Yeah.
I'm already at the point that I'm picking flaws in my villains, in my characters, and the super villains of those movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm picking flaws in them. That's how much I've seen them. That's how dumb I can be. I have found out how to beat the how to beat some of the characters, and I'm like, they never talk about this. How come this character never knew about this? So I'm been spending some time in the cinema world. But I gotta say, since I've been doing this and I've gotten away from all the politics stuff that Facebook has and social media does, like I feel way better.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like social media is just super negative, and everyone's just looking for a fight. It's like a virtual alley that everyone's like, you got some beef, I got beef with you. I'm gonna take it out on you, and
Yeah,
it's just yeah, like your beef is for something else, and it's just like you brought up bullying earlier. I feel like we're the bullies, the adults, like they're the ones that stop. Like, I don't see kids bully. It's like it's just bullying that happened, and also I'm learning that people are dealing with stuff from their family, and then we have to everyone else to put up with it. You know, it's like someone called me a loser, then it hurt me. I was like, well, I know your dad called you that, but can't you show him something different? I was like, I don't know. Sorry, I don't get too touchy. We get away from politics on this podcast, but movies, but I think that's what we'll do. We'll wrap it up here, but we'll definitely. So Monster Squad, you will watch Monster Squad. We'll let you watch this one. But I'm thinking it should be in Halloween.
On Halloween?
Not Halloween the day, but like I'm sorry, I said Halloween. I mean in October.
Uh-huh.
Because I think it's a little bit more. We'll get more into the festive. Maybe you should wear goth. Really go goth at this. Get the candles lit. Get your Ouija board out. Get your star, your what do you call it, the 6-star on the floor. Yeah, and then totally get into it. No, wait, now we're doing the craft. Never mind.
That one, I have seen The Craft several times. That one did freak me out a lot too, because I think I was like 13 or 14 when that movie came out, and I did watch it during that time, and like I liked it then, but it like really freaked me out.
Okay, then okay, so I did go to a fan expo where The Craft was there.
Huh.
And I wish I would. Their line was too long. Like you lose a lot of time with them. I didn't have the VIP status like I usually do, but I saw Neve Campbell and she still looks exactly the same. She's beautiful, and I forget the main villain in that movie.
Yeah,
she was also I forget, but she looks exactly the same. Like she looks like you just pulled her out right out of the movie. I was just like, whoa, that's what's her name, Vicky Valancourt. She showed me her boobies, and I like them.
When I see her, even though like I immediately think of Return to Oz because she was a little kid in that. So even though like I think The Craft was like the movie that really made her popular, but I'll never forget her being like Dorothy in Return of Oz.
That's the imprint. That's the imprint you got in her.
Which I love that as a kid too, but watching it as an adult, it's kind of creepy. I don't know if you've seen Return of Oz.
I haven't seen it. You know what? I haven't seen it as an adult. I saw it as a child, and those monkeys scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, it's an actually really creepy movie. Like if you watch it
now. I'll watch it again. I think I do want to watch it because I have that embedded in my head. Because that was one of those where I remember I saw Return of Oz and I told people about it at my age, and I was probably like, second, third grade. And they're like, that never happened. That's not a movie. And I was like, I swear I saw it. I know we're talking about this book, but there's a movie out there. Like, oh, shut up. I'm just like, no, dude, it was so cool. And I described the scene to them, and I was like, I'm not making this up. Like, there's an actual scene. And then for many years passed by.
Tim Burton of, Wizard of Oz.
I would totally say that. Yeah. And I was going on, and I don't know, probably my early 20s. I saw it again, and I saw that scene. I didn't see the whole movie. I saw that scene. I go, I knew it. I was right. I knew it was a monkey, but I didn't know the movie. I just saw it on TV. I didn't know the title of the movie, so I couldn't look it up, or I didn't know where to find it. But I think what I would like to kind of see is introduce you to a new movie called The Monster Squad, which would be kind of a spinoff on the Goonies, kind of like kind of still in that realm of friendship. And that's another reason why I can't talk about Monster Squad because I haven't seen it, so I'm not gonna talk about it at all. But the other one we could watch The Craft too, because that's a movie you've seen. And when's the last time you've seen it?
Oh gosh, I mean,
It's time to rewatch it.
Probably like early 20s, so at least good, yeah, like 15 years ago.
Man, I think I just got a new title for if I come out with you in shows all the time. It's called Rewatch.
Yeah.
Because with Ben, I do side by side,
Mm-hmm.
and so we watch two movies that are by like either the same director, actor, entertainer, or something that we can see like their early work and their end
Oh,
work,
yeah.
or how they process. We compare it to it. Like we've done Eddie Murphy, we've done Harold Ramis, and then we did John Favreau, and then now this week we're doing Ace Ventura, so Jim Carrey.
Oh,
So
okay.
so with you, it's kind of like let's rewatch a movie we haven't seen. Because I honestly like I'll be honest with you, I've owned Goonies and I haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it on TV and I haven't sat down. There's a reason. There's a block there. Now that I've gone through it, I'm like, I can watch it now. I can feel because there are a lot of good things about this movie. You can just watch it and you'll understand right away. But I just love the scenery. The scenery is so beautiful. It's awesome in the movie. So
It's really great.
and then something like also about Monster Squad, and even I think The Craft has one CGI scene that's bad. They don't have bad. Like practical effects. They look really nice.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's a big deal with me in watching movies. But we'll cut it here. I think we've been. What time do you have? I don't even know what time it is.
It is 5:25.
All right. So
Yeah.
we've been. See, I told you these things go by like really like you could easily do a 4-hour podcast without even knowing.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
You like anybody can do them. Like they're just once you like us, like once we find that topic, and we just kind of and for viewers, or sorry, for listeners or viewers, you're seeing like, why does CJ have his hairstylist here talking to him? It's because we have these conversations.
Yeah.
We've been having them for years.
Yes.
And I think the last 3 years, maybe 4 years, Mona has been coming to my house and cutting my hair. So there's always a sit down talk. And she's actually part of my original podcast that I started when I lost the laptop. She does. I think you did like 3 or 4 episodes. You did a few episodes with me.
Yeah.
And because I did like 5 or 6 with Tony, and then I lost the laptop and I left everything in there, and I didn't have anything in the cloud. So, I didn't have anything in the cloud, so I don't have any. I found some old clips, but they're not worth using. But not of us, just some when I first started. But that's what you kind of, what I'm trying to say is you kind of tend to keep the people around that you like, and that you want to kind of, you can explore each other life a little bit, like from certain topics. And I think movies is a good one, because we do tend to talk about movies. We talk about pop culture and stuff like that, and just the things. But I do like the fact that you're able to school me on movies, because I'm not a guy that's, I'm not like a real like the nostalgia nerd or anything, but I do love the craft of filmmaking, and I like practicing, and I want to do it more than I've been called, but I want to do it more than ever right now, because we have time, nothing but time on our hands, so let's do it. But we will sign off, because we have been talking for a minute, and so the next time you see us, you hear us, you're definitely going to get a Monster Squad or a Craft review. But if it's a rewatch, it definitely has to be The Craft.
Yeah.
But if it's just the introduction, I would definitely think the Monster Squad. We'll figure it out. You'll catch on to it. I'm all over the place, so.
No worries.
All right.
Well,
I'm gonna
thanks for having me.
Hey, it's cool. See, I mean, we had these conversations. All we have to do is record them while you're in my kitchen and I'm in my living room, because my Zoom wasn't working, and we still made it work. But all right, well, we'll sign off. I'm CJ. And I will see you guys later. Peace.
Should I just stop it right here? Stop